Welcome to Colombia! Today a reaction video to a crazy guy riding on a motorbike from north to south in Colombia. Welcome, wonderful people all over the world! My name is Frank, I'm Swiss, I came to Colombia in 2015 and I run a travel agency here in Bogota. Today I'm going to review and to react to a video of a guy called Ed, and he drove all the way from Alaska to Argentina on a C90 crappy old motorbike, and the part in Colombia is very interesting. I can recommend you highly to watch that video, it's really cool, and I'm going to take some sequences of that video, review them and comment on them because I think it's quite interesting what we are going to see. So first of all, he's looking for a passage from Panama to Colombia, and he found one for $500. So this is something normal people are looking for, passages between Panama and Colombia, getting to the port of Cartagena or leaving from the port of Cartagena, because there is no real land connection between Panama and Colombia. There is no road. There is a connection, you can hike actually, but nothing for vehicles. So a ship ride is the logical consequence, and he pays about $500, gets into Colombia and then in Cartagena, showing how he's actually smuggling his motorbike through customs, but actually he's just in a regular harbor, in a little yacht harbor, and the guy you see in the video, he's actually not really from customs. It's just the guy who makes sure no people enter the port who are not allowed to, but I don't see any customs at all, nowhere in that video. Then he's actually in Cartagena, and then what we can see here is the first sequence I want to comment on. This is very interesting. There are actually no more gas station, at least last time I was there, in La Guajira, very close to the border of Venezuela. So you will find people selling gas or gasoline next to the road everywhere in normal bottles or canisters or whatever, and it's very cheap. And this is actually all smuggled in from Venezuela. This is how it is. And then we are going to the desert of La Guajira, which is Alta Guajira. And this is a spectacular place. I recommend it to travelers from time to time. I already sent clients there. You can do a 4x4 trip up to the northernmost point of the continent. Really cool. And that he does this, I mean, this is very adventurous. I would never recommend it doing it alone because there are some risks. So let's check here in the video. You actually have a main road which is along the rail track where they transport the charcoal. Then you really get into pure deserts. In the beginning you have all those desert trees, dry terrain, and very interesting, especially with the motorbike, because sometimes it's very low. And this is actually very interesting. Although it is a desert, it's raining from time to time, not too much, but when it rains it has quite severe impact, because then you cannot cross the desert anymore with vehicles, not with cars, not with bikes, because the sand, when it gets humid, it's like so deep and sticky, and you just get stuck. So once I wanted to go to Punta Gallinas with my dad, we didn't go by 4x4 but by boat, because it was raining some weeks before and there was lots of water, and they said you just cannot cross the desert right now. And this is actually something very common. The second trip I did to Punta Gallinas, I did by car in the 4x4 in a convoy with other 4x4 vehicles with local guides. and you have kids standing by the side of the road, and they're having little ropes to close it, and they're not looking for sweets or money, they're looking for food. So usually when you do your trip you buy crackers, because crackers are very easy to transport, or packed food, because the kids are just apart from whole communities, big families, and they're not there looking for sweets to take the sweets. No, they're looking for food, to have food for the whole community, because it's one of the poorest areas in Colombia. So yes, this is exactly the thing, the situation I was referring to. When you have water in the desert, the ground, it gets so difficult, you almost cannot pass. And if you're alone with the vehicle, it might happen that your vehicle gets stuck and you will not get out anymore. With the motorbike, it's not so heavy, but also with the motorbike it can happen that you will get stuck and you cannot get it out anymore. So traveling in that area alone, it's very dangerous, because if you have a problem with the engine or flat tire, or you get stuck in the sand or whatever, it's not a good idea. And this area is not so populated either, so it might happen that you have to wait, and you can lose yourself because there are no ways. And don't travel alone in such areas. There are organized tours, but what he does here, I would never do. It's not recommended. Very dangerous. But funny. Then you can see here also the dunes, and the motorbike, of course, stuck in the fine sand, and you have to lower pressure in your tires. Also something I had to learn, I didn't know before. And Punta Gallinas is one of the most beautiful, most magic places I've ever been. There's nobody, and you have the dunes and the sand, you can run right into the water. Beautiful, very magic, an adventure. You sleep in hammocks over there, food is fresh and great, and it's very standard, but perfect for disconnecting. So he really chose a great region to travel to. Punta Gallinas, I can recommend to everybody. So on the way back, he decided to drive into Venezuela, which I think is also not a good idea. Of course, the border was closed during the pandemic. I think it's officially still closed, at least for traffic. The border is so long, and those two countries, Venezuela and Colombia, are so connected, so it actually was never closed. So people were always crossing the border, maybe not by the official borders, but it's huge, the border, and you can get to one or the other side. Anyway, the biggest risks I see is, in general, those areas are regarded as unsafe. So in terms of crime, you have to be very careful. So I think this is one of the biggest risks. If you get captured by officials like police or border control, probably they will give you a hard time, and they will expect you to pay a fine or whatever, and then let you go. Because they're mostly interested in that. Besides that, not too dangerous, but I think the factor of the crime, especially as somebody who looks like a totally gringo like him, so don't do it. Here also, it's an adventure, it's fine, it's great, but don't do it. Don't do it. It's a big risk, I think. I would never do it. And then he comes later to Bogota, and this is something very interesting I wanted to show you actually for a long time. In Bogota, they're they're real clusters of different industries, so you can go to a neighborhood where you find everything around cars. You find streets full with car tires, and the same for motorbikes. It's just motorbikes, motorbike parts, and everything. So in Bogota you can find everything, and especially when you drive an older motorbike like him, something very common here in Colombia, people can repair everything. Here it's not the culture of replacement. In Colombia it's the culture of repairing. They repair almost everything, and they do a good job. So after Bogota, he goes to the coffee triangle, which is one of the most beautiful areas, not just in Colombia, I would say one of the most beautiful destinations in the world. It's so nice. Climate is great. You have volcanoes, mountains, valleys, wax palms, coffee growing everywhere. And he decided in Salento to go to the road, take the road to Tolima. And if you want to know about Salento, you should click that video here somewhere where I make a tour, and then I talk to some guides and they give you some great tours and explain stuff. So he takes that road, and that's actually great because you will find so many wax palms on that road. And then we make a jump in the video and go to the south of Colombia. We're close to Putumayo, or in Putumayo, close to Mocoa, which is capital, and there is a mountain pass called Trampoline de la Muerte, the Trampoline of Death. I made that twice. It's a very interesting mountain pass, and I think it's quite dangerous. Interestingly, when I did it the first time with Sebastian, my deputy I had this time, he was sick for 3 days. I think I was a bit too fast and he got very scared. So and yes, the weather, both times I did that pass, the weather was exactly the same. It was foggy, it was cold, it was raining, and exactly the same. I think it's always like that. If you take the motorbike, you will have a hard time. This will test your motorbike and your abilities of stamina. Yeah, it's a loose gravel road, you have heavy traffic, you have cars, you have bikes. It's a hard road, it's tough on the driver and on the equipment also. And then from there you go over the pass, and then you get to Nariño afterwards, which is the department that connects then to Ecuador. Yes, and then he comes to a desert which looks like the Tatacoa desert. In reality it's not a desert, it's dry forest, and he does some editing magic because the Tatacoa desert is only about 3-4 hours south from Bogota and very far away from where he has been before. So he shows the part more south earlier than the part more north, Tatacoa desert. I'm sure he was there before. It's a beautiful landscape, very famous for stars watching. Not too much to say about that, it's not dangerous at all, it's great to go. And then again, magically he jumps from almost Bogota to Nariño, to the Cathedral Las Lajas, which is the most beautiful and spectacular church I've ever seen. That's a really great place. Nariño in general, a great place for tourism, not discovered by international, neither national tourism so far. There is so much to discover in that department, and it's right next to Ecuador. So from the Cathedral, he's at the border to Ecuador within 1 hour. That's that's a really great road trip he did. So concluding, yes, you can do actually trips through Colombia with your motorbike, that's possible. The diversity you can find here in Colombia is just spectacular. It's just unbelievable that you can find all this within one country. So I recommend you watch the whole video of C90 Adventures. It's great, shows a lot of Colombia, some great pictures, grand landscape. And let's see if you like that reaction video, and we'll do another one. So that's it from today. I hope you liked that video. If you want to add something, write a comment. I'm happy to reply. If not, I hope to see you soon here back on that channel again, or even better, very soon here in Colombia. All the best from Bogota. Yours Colombia Frank. Bye bye.